Hi everybody, I'm Justin Archer, aka the Posture Guy, and today I'm going to show you how to evaluate your own posture so you can begin to connect some dots and figure out how your posture correlates with your pain. Alright? Now, so we have some basis as to what we're comparing your posture to, I'm going to put Freddy Function up on the screen here. Now, the first thing you probably notice about Freddy is that all of his joints, his shoulders, his hips, his knees, his ankles, everything is vertically stacked and every joint is either perpendicular or parallel to one another. And there's a very good reason for this. This is the way we're born. This is our original blueprint. And I guarantee you that you're never going to find an anatomy book somewhere with a skeleton with one shoulder higher than the other or one foot turned out. It's just not going to happen. So this is a basis for all of our work moving forward. So really ingrain these images into your mind and let's get started. Now, I always like to start an evaluation off with whatever's the most apparent. So put yourself in front of a mirror and look at whatever jumps out to you the most. So if you have one shoulder that's an inch or two higher than the other, look at that. If you look down at your hands and you notice one arm is rotated in more than the other, where you can see the back of your hand, look at that. Then if you look further south to your hips and pelvis, like where your waistline is, notice, are your pelvic bones even or is one higher than the other? And then if you continue south to your knees, look, do your knees line up directly under your hips and directly above your ankles? Or are they inside those joints, kind of knock-kneed? Or are they outside those joints and are kind of bow-legged? Also look at the kneecaps themselves. So do the kneecaps point straight ahead? Do they point out? Do they point in? Does maybe one point out and one point in? Okay? And then going down to the ground floor, look at your feet and ankles. So do the feet point straight ahead at 12 o'clock? Do they point out? Do they point in? Maybe one points straight ahead at 12 o'clock, but the other points out at maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. Okay? So make notes of all these things. And by all means, if you need more time, pause this video and don't rush yourself. Okay? But the next thing I want you to do is close your eyes, march in place for about 5-10 seconds, and then go ahead and stop, keep your eyes closed, and ask yourself, how is the weight distribution in your feet? Do you feel more weight on your left foot? More on your right foot? And then once you figure that out, ask yourself, is it more towards the toes or more towards the heels? And maybe it's different from left to right, and that's okay too. There's no wrong answers here. And last but not least, ask yourself, is there more weight on the insides of the feet or the outsides of the feet? Again, take your time with this, pause the video if need be. But the last thing I want you to do is to go ahead and stand up against a wall with your heels touching the wall and ask yourself, does it feel like one butt cheek is touching the wall more than the other? And then once you figure that out, ask yourself the same question, but about your shoulder blades, or just your upper back and shoulders in general, okay? And if standing up against a wall, you can't do that or it's painful to you, you can also do it on the floor. I just recommend putting your legs up on a chair at 90 degrees. Either way, you're going to be using the wall or the floor as a giant ruler. And what this is good for is to either confirm or deny if there's any rotation currently present in your hips and pelvis and or your torso. So, for example, if you stand up against the wall and you feel your left butt cheek against the wall more than your right, well, that means that left hip is rotated back, which means the right hip is rotated forward. So when you walk into a room, that right hip is going to greet everyone a split second sooner than the left. Make sense? So, do all these things, write down as many and as much detailed notes as you can, and what I want you to do is really think long and hard about what you just learned from doing these things and, what it tells you about your body and your posture and what that has to do with the symptoms you're currently experiencing. Because up until this point, you really haven't heard me say much about symptoms. And the reason being is because postural alignment therapy looks to address the cause of the problem and not the symptom itself. So, and in my experience, 95% of the time, the reason people hurt is because they're just off balance. Their posture is out of alignment. But as you correct your posture, as a direct result of that, your symptom will get less and less, and eventually it'll go completely away. Okay? So if you have any questions or you're unsure about anything, feel free to call, email me, you can leave a comment in the section below, but keep your notes, and we're going to go into this a little further in the next video, okay? So until then, take care and keep moving.